I'm 29F, in the midst of a divorce, and now I'm discovering all my husband's, 32M, physical affairs. Husband and I got married few months ago, and I discovered some dirty sexts between him and some girls. We decided to end it. Now recently, I charged my old iPhone to get something, and his Instagram was logged in. I have discovered that he's been having physical affairs, and not just emotional ones, for the entirety of our relationship, i.e. 3 years. He's also been bad-mouthing me. What can I do? How can I get revenge? I know I'm being petty, and honestly I'm sick of hearing forget about him. This guy has ruined my prime years, broken my heart, called me a psycho, even though he's been cheating throughout. Please help me. Go live your life without him and thrive. That's the best revenge. He is a hollow and empty man looking for others to fill his bottomless cup. He will remain miserable without you in his life. You should consider therapy. You're still young, move on. I really want to say you should have them professionally printed, bound, and shipped to his mom for Christmas, but I'm pretty sure everyone else is probably much more right than me. If you do, though, resolve the divorce, change your name, move to a new country, and leave no trace of your existence. What is there to avenge? Marriage is dead. You're already divorcing him. Why even bother wasting the energy when there is no such thing as getting even? Don't waste the time, just end things as quickly as you can. First off, most women think they were too stupid in their 20s. Just make sure you don't do anything to hurt your back. Be careful with heavy lifting and bad mattresses. Your 30s may very well be your prime, if such a thing even exists. Eat something he hates, do something he would never do with you. Start a new hobby you've never been brave enough to try. Enjoy your freedom. That will eat him up. And before you get with another guy, figure out why you stuck with someone who called you a psycho. Why you trusted someone like that enough to marry him. Work on your self-esteem, and figure out how your family and environment differed from those of others. Don't let him see you care. Anything else just feeds his ego. My 38 female, husband 43 male, flipped when he thought I was logged into his email account. I was heading into my night shift, 10 minutes from clocking in when my 38 female, husband 43 male, together for 9 years, married for 4, sent me a text telling me he doesn't want me logged into his email. I'm not logged into any of his accounts except our shared email, so I was pretty confused right from the start. Earlier in the day, he was talking about how he emailed the yacht club, and I said, "Oh yeah, I saw an email come through about that." We carried about our day, and then 8+ HRS later I got the text mentioned above. I called him immediately because I am most certainly not logged into his accounts, and I wanted it to be clear that that's the case. I already know he's weird about that. Example, we are not allowed to track each other's location, and I'm not allowed to go into his phone, and we don't share our bank accounts. Actually, he's listed on mine, but I'm not on his. He says he deserves privacy. Which I get, but also I think it would be nice to have each other's locations. Not just for safety, but also think it would be cool because then I don't have to bug him with things like, "Where are you? When will you be home?" etc. Back to the story, he answered my call, then repeated what he said in the text, adding in that it's about privacy, and he should have his privacy. I responded by telling him that according to John Gottman, husband introduced me to the Gottmans and all their stuff in regards to relationships. Privacy in a marriage doesn't exist in the way he thinks it does. That was he's demanding isn't privacy, it's secrecy. I also told him that this big concern he has really freaks me out. It makes me wonder if rare is something shady going on. He responded by telling he doesn't care about that shit, and that this is how he feels and this is how it's going to be. I asked, what about how it makes me feel? It scares me, and there shouldn't be anything in there that I can't see. He started getting angry, then said FKU, and FK this, and hung up. I sent a message saying how hurt I was by his words and actions. It's been 2.5 hours, and he said nothing to me. I wouldn't care one bit if my email was logged into his phone. In fact, it was for several years, so he could access an app we use at home that was tied to my email account. He has a porn addiction. I only found out after we had our first child together, but he knew from the start how I felt about porn, and that I didn't want porn in my relationship. So I just assume it's in regards to that, even though he swears up and down that he stopped. In addition to the porn, he's also an alcoholic, and tonight he was drinking. There was a situation a few days ago that also has me pondering possibilities. We were texting, I asked him to pick me up a lighter, and he responded with 1K, not okay, not 1K. I read it as $1,000. I replied 1K, and no response. By this time he had gone much longer than I thought he would be, and no reply to the text, so I called him. I asked 2 questions. "What are you doing?" he said, driving home. I said, "Oh, well, whatcha buying?" He immediately became frustrated and asked me, "What are you tracking me?" I then asked a 3rd question, "What does 1K mean?" And he lost it, saying I was being untrusting and that my questions made no sense. It wasn't until he got home that he stated it was a typo. The whole situation just left me feeling icky. His reaction screamed guilt, like he was caught doing something he shouldn't have. Back in June, he let me use his phone to send myself pictures. I opened WhatsApp to send them to myself from his phone, and right there staring at me was a single message from someone named Brooke, with a red heart emoji. I immediately started shaking and crying. I asked him about it, and he initially said he didn't know who it was. Then when I said I wanted to contact the number, he told me it was an old friend that he hasn't talked to in years. He refused to give me the number, stating she was on the East Coast and calling would wake her, and he wouldn't let me do that. We argued for over an hour about this, and he eventually gave me the number. I called the number, no answer. I then texted, "This is XXXX's wife." Just trying to figure out why another woman is sending him a heart emoji. Doesn't seem appropriate. And the woman texted back saying it's an emoji to a friend I grew up with and haven't talked to in years, absolutely no harm was meant. It's not appropriate to insinuate that it is anything more and then either pose as someone else or read their messages and then contact someone you don't know. Do not contact me again. If you don't want Justin to talk to old friends that are female, you do you. All the best. My husband remained pissed off at me over the situation and told me I have to accept he had a life before me and friendships before me. That's fine, I do. But Eve never met this woman except a 5-minute hello almost 8 years ago. She's not a part of his life as far as I know, so the whole thing just never sat well within my heart/gut. A little about me. I've been cheated on or violated by every man I've been with, starting with my first love, whom I dated from 16-19 years old. Found out on my 18th birthday about the girls he'd been with, and my best friend at the time knew all along. My first husband told people he cheated on me, but always denied it to my face. He had multiple emotional affairs throughout our marriage. My dad has cheated on my mom many times, and also has a porn addiction. I know that I have deep trust issues, and I also know my current husband has contributed to them, but he doesn't feel like he has. I've always been honest about my past and my trust issues. I've gone to therapy, and am constantly working on that part of me. But at this point, I'm starting to think maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I'm making things up in my head, and there is absolutely nothing weird about his behavior. But my gut is telling me there's more. I'd really love any and all input or advice. Are you happy? Because pretty much all of this sounds awful. He will not change, but you can leave. Also get him off your bank account. Why are you normalizing the way he spoke to you? That's the really big issue here, putting aside the trust issues. Also, I think you guys need to go to couples counseling for his own issues/porn issues and the trust you have for him, and the message you saw, and how he's acted towards you wanting more access to his privacy. You two are on clear different pages, and he doesn't seem willing to try and work with you to alleviate your issues as what is supposed to be a loving married couple and partnership. That's a whole lot of words to say. My husband is cheating on me, treats me like shit, and told me to fuck off. Girl, what's the question? He deserves privacy. WTF? Not for those things, bank, ACCT, location, etc. Did he conveniently forget that he got married? Why did you marry such an asshole, an awful person again? You are definitely not the problem, but he is making you feel like you are, and that is not what a loving partner does about things like that. He's hiding something, and he's an ass. My husband and I use the same mixture of passwords for everything. I'm in charge of finances, so sometimes I have to get into his email sometimes. We share our locations for safety, but also because I like to see if he's heading home or not from work in case I want to surprise him. I also don't like that he's on your bank account, but you aren't on his. That reeks of a controlling man. While even in marriage, you do deserve privacy. That's not what he wants, he's just framing it that way. If you did to him what he does to you, would he be okay with it? 25F, getting married in a month to my fiancé, 26M, and I'm worried I'm making a mistake. I felt this was the best subreddit for this post because some others for this particular subject seem extremely self-fulfilling. I'm 25F, getting married in just over a month to my fiancé, 26M. We're both over the moon. All that's left are some final details. Unfortunately though, I can't tell if I'm just getting pre-wedding anxiety or if I should actually be concerned regarding the decision I'm making. We've been together for nearly 9 years, so we're high school sweethearts. Friends to lovers trope and all that. I always thought our relationship was really solid. We're an active part of one another's families. We both jointly handle the home, cooking, bills, and he's a total sweetheart with many similar interests/hobbies. I love him dearly. However, a couple months after proposing, he confessed that he had cheated on me multiple times, many years ago. He confessed all of this in a period of high stress, and while drunk, but it always sent off alarm bells that he waited until after getting engaged to tell me. That's where the story was left, but I knew that wasn't the end of it. I did some sleuthing and found his anon Reddit accounts for posting nudes and messaging people. In fairness to him, it hadn't been active in nearly 2 years. Did more sleuthing, realized he cheated on me more times / over a longer period than he initially said. He also absolutely has an issue with porn overconsumption, which he acknowledges. He gave me the space I needed to decide how I wanted to move forward. I decided to reconcile, partially out of love and maybe naivety, partially because he also told me about some SA that had occurred throughout his childhood. There's so much evidence showing SA can alter sexuality, so as long as we work through things together, I told him I was willing to reconcile. Jump to now. We don't see one another very often due to work scheduling, but that will be resolved soon. He's consuming adult media, including things I've stated I personally consider boundary breaking, at a very high volume, including while sitting next to me, which occurred again this morning. I feel confident he isn't physically cheating anymore, but I'm fearful that his current habits will lead to relapse over a broader period. He's recently shared that he's been struggling and that he wants to work on both himself and our relationship surrounding these issues, which I'm happy to do. But I'm not sure he realizes how much bandwidth it takes on my end. And unfortunately, it is exacerbated by my own chronic mental struggles that been a factor in my own life well before we even met. The last year of my life has been a blur. I love him and am still excited to get married because he really does feel like my person in life, but I can't shake the nagging concern. I suppose what I'm asking for is insight and suggestions from others that been through something similar. Or maybe just someone without rose-tinted glasses to put in their 2 cents. Are my worries realistic? Is it possible he's bluffing, and this is what the rest of my life will be like? Or are these things that can work through within marriage with the proper external help? Well, he is clearly the type to fuck strangers and lie to you for years and years about that. He is clearly the type to know your boundaries and continue to break them, and is comfortable doing so in front of you. Sounds like an ideal foundation for marriage. Given you have now established for him there will be absolutely zero consequence for his behavior, I'm sure he will be motivated to change. Aim higher, OP. Familiarity and safety is no real reason to be unhappy in the future. Sometimes you need to cut your losses. If you want to forgive him for cheating, I will support your decision even if I don't agree with it. I don't think he'll quit with the adult content though. I wouldn't get married. I don't think couples therapy would help in this case. Your person in life is someone who cheats, lies, and disrespects you? What would you say to a loved one who told you that? Don't marry this guy. Just please, use contraception in case of staying in this disaster with him. A kid deserves much better than a marriage that was already failed before the wedding. It's scary how unhealthy relationships are nowadays. And people accept and explain everything and anything like it's totally normal. No, it's not. High school sweethearts. Infidelity. Porn addiction. Still wants to marry him. It's like some people are determined to make the worst mistakes possible in life. He feels like your person because you have never known any different. This is one of many reasons why no intelligent person ever marries their high school sweetheart. After high school, you are supposed to grow up and grow out of your teenage relationships. This is one of several reasons you should not be marrying this dude, but you're likely going to do it anyway. Hey girl, no, you should not marry this man. Good luck. I, 25F, just found out my partner, 25M, got married for money. What can I do? I didn't know how to phrase this better due to the subreddit's rules. Recently, I've, 25F, met this guy, 25M, off of Instagram, who happened to find me off a dating app one was on. He slid into my DMs and tried to pursue me for a month before I really showed interest. Turns out the sex was amazing, we clicked well, and we've been seeing each other 2-3 times a week. We both work a lot, so it's what works with our schedules, and I sleep over his house. We talk all day, every day, and show lots of interest towards each other. I was confused because he wanted to be in a situationship, but has asked me about a potential relationship a few times already. He doesn't know this, but I do really like him. About 2 weeks ago, he's like, "Hey, my name. Can I tell you something?" Of course my heart sinks to my stomach, and then he proceeds to tell me that he met this girl from Colombia, and that he's marrying her for money, $50,000, for U.S. citizenship. I acted really nonchalant about everything, but I'm honestly extremely jealous. He has to have sex with this girl once in a while, pretend to love her, and that there's going to be times where she will have to stay at his house for days whenever I see, or whoever the hell, does checkups for legitimacy. He got married last weekend, and told me whenever we were on the way to pick something up together from Facebook Marketplace. I was so heartbroken. He tells me that he doesn't care about this girl, and that their marriage is open and only about money, but the things he tells me about this girl's actions makes me believe she genuinely likes him. I feel so silly for staying. He was recently sick, and I nursed him and bought him a ton of meds and soup. I even made him a cake and bought him a gift for his birthday. I've known him for 3 months now. He says our sex is 10x better, and I shouldn't worry because he's always laid up with me and spending more time with me and talking to me. I feel that I might be overreacting because it is only for money. It's not real love, but the fact that I have to work around their schedule together is crazy. They don't have to have sex for this arrangement. I've known of people that did it in the 90s, and they had other partners but didn't mess with each other like that. This just all sounds strange. Also, I might be mistaken, but $50,000 is wild for this transaction. Edited to add, I don't think you are overreacting. I would walk away because, in reality, this situation is messy and can get legally messy as well. Don't date that person. It's really that simple. How have you confirmed this is a financial transaction? This could very well be a married man who wants to have sex with other women. You may be the mistress. Why would you even put yourself through this headache? Leave. Even if this story is totally sincere, this is way more drama than you'd want to be involved with. So you'd effectively be his side chick with a green card marriage. Though his wife is someone who expects a legit marriage, but maybe it really is open and an ethical poly arrangement, in which case, you should have no trouble meeting her right. Also, he sprung it on you suddenly like, "Oh, by the way, I married last weekend. Want to have sex? Oh, and you'll have to keep this quiet since," gestures at America. "I don't care if this is the best sex of your life. It ain't worth this drama. I'm sorry, but this is insane. You know this is insane. He's lying to your face, and not even good at it. Run."